Okay, so how old are you now, Lewis?
25.
And how long have you been kiting for?
7 years, 2004, about mid-2004, about 7 years.
So quite a long time.
Yeah.
And how did you get into it originally? I remember when you were kicking around in the early days.
Just lived on the seafront in Worthing, so it was obvious that that was the thing I was going to do. I started windsurfing first, actually. I wish I could do a bit more of that, but I don't know, it's a bit boring if it's not. You know, if it's going crazy, you'd rather be out on a kite, because I can do it. But I started windsurfing, and then 2 years of that, I saw kiting boom, really, at Lancing, and thought, oh, I'll have a go at that. It looks good fun, I'll have a go at that.
Cool. And I remember in the early days you used to go around without even a kiteboard and just like body drag.
Yeah, I was one of the body drag guys you see on your beach and you think, what are you doing? I was that person, but I didn't have the money for a board at the time. I got a Whipper free air for 200 quid. Still never met that bloke. I will meet him one day because it wasn't a good deal. And I used to do body dragging, downwinders and that with a few mates. It was good fun. It got me into it. But then when I got a board, I was ready for it. I was just like straight away.
You had the kite skills and everything.
Neil Belsley Hilda gave me a little go on his board once, and that was it.
I was going to say, so you've grown up, well, your kiting's grown up around some pretty good riders with like Neil Hilda and stuff like that. Was that quite influential in the early days?
You know, those sorts of guys cut years of my riding off. Like in terms of where kiting was going, they could see that, and I couldn't. I was getting into it and was well into. You know, effectively, I had to go back to learn on my board offs and stuff, which has been great. That's great fun sort of stuff that I missed out, but they certainly like fast tracked my kiting to what was in at the time for sure. And
you're one of the probably the quickest riders to win the British Championships, weren't you? 'Cause you did that in a couple of years.
Yeah, I have a good formula for that. I think that was I was involved in kiting at a time where it was too expensive for young people to get into it, and I took a gamble, along with guys like, you know, Sam Light, Ali Barrett, that sort of era of people. There wasn't loads of us doing it, you know, 5 or 6 guys doing it, so we effectively replaced the older guys out of it because we were younger. I mean, and now, you know, you see how it is, it's like the Bridgelets, and it's getting even younger, they'll soon enough replace that age group. It's just how it works.
So I reckon a bit of timing and luck was on your side.
Yeah, I think so. I got into it at a good time where young people weren't kite surfing really, and I was one of the first ones that, like in my teenage years, that was getting into it. So I could drive. I had all that going for me, and I had an easy course of photography at college, which I changed to like 4.5 hours a week. Told my parents it was full time still, and that was. All was good. It was good.
You're just down the beach when they put you at college. Yeah, I got
constant time. When you're learning to kite, I think that's the key for anyone. If you're out on the water day after day, you pick it up. If you do one day every month, you ain't going to get anywhere.
Yeah, so you managed to spend heaps of time
every day. I loved it.
And then you were top of the British Championship for 3 years, was it? You won it?
Yeah, then I got out.
Yeah.
I got too good.
That's pretty good. Are you the only guy to have won it 3 times in a row as well?
Yeah.
That's right. Pretty good then.
Yeah, it's nice to say that.
Claim to fame.
See how long it lasts. I might get in there again to mix it up when someone's won twice. That's what I was thinking.
Go and make sure you keep yourself on top of it.
Just go in those heats like where he's in it and knock him out so he can't win 3 times. I don't know.
And you've obviously, over the years, you've done the competition side of things, and you did a few PKRA events as well. But then, before you got into the pier jumping, and we'll get onto that in a minute, you kind of sort of stopped competing and kind of went off the radar a bit. What was happening there?
I just had a little bit of a reflection time after I stopped the last. You know, I won it 3 times. I think a lot of people expected me to keep going, but I didn't want that to be where it ended, or like where that's where it goes. So I thought I took some time out of it, got into the commentary with the competitions. That was awesome. I think that's helped me see sort of where kite surfing sits within life and how people accept it. So you know, I learned some things off that. Took the stress out of things as well. It's been really nice to just go kiting, do what you want, and have a look at where you really want to go with kite surfing. Really, I think I'd done as much as I could do with the competitions, and you know, you've got to be doing switch everything now to even stand a chance, and that's not really what I'm about. So I think I did the right thing there.
And so did you still go out and practice your freestyle and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I'm still into my freestyle, but not. Like when you're competing, you have to be in your freestyle all the time.
Yeah, 100%.
Times where you don't want to be out there doing it, you feel like you're sitting at home thinking I should be out there learning my combos and my tricks. And now it's more, you know, I might just do 2 different variations of a trick all day. But if the conditions are all right, it's nice to have it like that. Gives you a bit of freedom.
Kiting for yourself, rather than for other people.
You know, you obviously have a great time when you're in the comps and that, and you can have, you know, I remember comps which were epic. I loved doing all that, but when it starts not going right for you and you're just getting stressed out because you're not landing things, even if you don't want to be out there, sometimes it's nice to chill out.
Okay, and so famously, 2 years ago, well, nearly a year ago now, isn't it?
It was almost a year identical to this one.
So that you did
within a few
Worthing
days.
Pier.
Yeah.
And what came? Yeah, how did you come out with that idea? Was it a publicity stunt to sort of get you back at the forefront of kiting, or was it just something that you'd planned to do for a while?
No, a lot of people have said, it's a publicity stunt. You wanted to get a load out of it, but we only had 2 mates come down and film it. We were lucky it got tipped off to local news and whatnot, and it went where it went. But that was more like, I bet there's guys who kiting in Blackpool who kite near the pier who joke about being able to do it. It was more we actually believed we could do it and went down with my mate Jake and did it. Whatever came of it was positive.
Yeah. And did you do much planning around it and stuff, or was it just something that kind of happened?
You do a bit, as much planning as you can do. Like, will the pier be closed? Tell a mate maybe to catch my kite down there, have a walk around on the pier and see where the best places are to do it. But the best planning you can do is be out there, jump in near it and see if you're looking over it. Not a huge amount of planning, but enough planning to keep everyone safe. Safety's
cover all the bases.
Safety's key.
And that video went massive. It was like 250,000 views or something. I think if you add up all the different.
Yeah, it went pretty big.
The different incarnations of it, they were pretty big, which made you probably the most watched kite surfer on the planet. How did that feel when that kind of sank in?
I haven't really thought about it like that, but I think it's like the way I looked at that was it was the first time that the general public had understood kite surfing. It was simple enough for them to see a person fly over a thing that they could grasp it, whereas a lot of the competition formats don't lend themselves to the general public understanding. It's a bit too confusing for them. So I think it was the first time, and a lot of those views were down to general interest of people watching it. So that was quite nice, because I've always believed that high wind is a big part of kite surfing, and big jumps is impressive and it's enjoyable, and it's one thing that all kite surfers have in common is jumping big in the air, no matter what sport they're doing. Even the wave riders with wave boards strapped to them, they'll boost big ones out in Cape Town, and that is something everyone can relate to.
So it makes it sort of accessible to the public, and that's why you think
everyone wants to fly
to check it out. Yeah,
everyone wants to fly in the air. Everyone wants to jump and say they're flying. Even people who aren't kiting know that feeling.
Have those dreams.
It's a human thing. It's a human thing built into you. Wouldn't it be nice to fly? I think. And
what went through your mind when you first jumped Worthing Pier and you knew you'd made it and you landed it? Was it kind of a relief or elation, or
a bit of relief, because it had been eating away at me for ages. Almost like this one, when you start thinking about it, it would do your heart in big time, like ×5 how fast it's going, and you start getting really stressed and want it done. But that's why you go and do it, I suppose. It eats away at you long enough. Probably just a nice bit of relief that I'd done it in Worthing, and that I can always look at my pier and know I was part of that.
Yeah.
Because these things are inevitable, that someone will do them all one day. It's just how humans are. Someone will go and do it. So it's nice to get in there.
Be the first
get in
person.
there and start, yeah.
And obviously, even more famously, you just jumped over Brighton Pier. How did that come about? Was that something that you thought as soon as you landed Worthing Pier there's got to be something else, or did it come about later?
Probably. It was obvious. This is my local area. I've been brought up on the south coast. These are the 2 big places, right? And one's my hometown and I love it, and this is like, can I step it up like within myself to, it's a nice place to put yourself, where you give yourself a challenge that you almost don't think you're capable of.
Yeah. And
then you get closer and closer and you might think it's possible. And this one was more about just getting out in the water and being in a position where it might be on. And if you see the wave I hit, it was an open invitation. I'd expect any kiter would have said yes to. It was a massive wave. I got well lucky with it. This one was a bit more like, maybe I can step up the challenge and do it, but it went alright in the end. Yeah,
it certainly looked on the video when that wave jacked up. You're thinking, that's lucky. Yeah. But it must have been a hell of a lot of commitment from when you run out from the beach to suddenly sit there, because you put yourself in a pocket whereby if you didn't hit that wave and jump, then, who knows what could have happened.
I was chilling out a lot just by the pier, and I was at the point of no return where I kind of could go up the beach and dump it, but I was quite near one of the rock groins, but I felt comfortable enough to be kiting slowly and taking it easy that I could just give myself a chance. If you don't put yourself in the right area, you're never going to go over. You have to be there, and then it clicks and you go. You don't even think about it. That's the wave. I'll go.
And it's just
time
done.
To go. There's the wave. Time to go.
And what did it feel like when you took off?
I knew I'd. The wave was too good. The wave was so good that I think I could have pulled my quick release on the way up and still gone over. I hit an absolute belt of a wave. It was like the Probably easy the biggest jump I did within the day, because I'd taken a 6 out earlier on, and that wasn't enough because the wind had dropped and got all rainy, and things weren't looking great that day. I come in and a lot of people packed up. I got another mate to drop me back upwind again with the 7. I think the 7's the sort of thing to be doing your biggest jumps and glides. I still believe with a 5 metre in stupid winds you'll go massive with the right gusts go your way, but for something like this where you need definite float and definite height, that was the correct choice in the end. It was the 7.
And it was a 7 slingshot fuel.
7 metre, yeah.
And it did the job.
It always does the job for me. It's tested in these conditions. I've got Rubesy testing them out for me. He's the one gaining his ankles, making sure they all work. So yeah,
nothing snaps. No, it's all good.
Strong lines, strong everything.
And obviously there must have been a moment when you're in the air, looking down, going over the pier, and you realise that no matter what happens, you're not going to land on the woodwork.
Yeah.
Is that a pretty good feeling?
Yeah,
that
was wicked. It was nice this time because obviously I had my team here to make sure public don't get in the way and that, and there's a lot of kite surfing related guys like with kite world and that are all on there, and they were screaming and they were happy. That was nice because to start with I wasn't sure if it was the right thing to do as the pier wasn't closed like Worthing, so I had to make sure my team were in the right place. But once they were all screaming and going happy, and I've had a lot of positives off the general public, it's made it worthwhile, I think.
And obviously safety is a pretty big concern, so making sure all the
right
elements are in place.
You're going to get the safety people come at you with all different types of angles, so it's always handy to have your team here who've got their first aids and the lifeguard stuff. It just keeps all those people, they can't say anything then.
Yeah.
Bring all them guys with you and then you've done it all right.
And have you ever had any repercussions from the councils and the owners of the pier or anything like that? Has it all been all right?
It's been pretty quiet. I had a council vehicle waiting for me when I got out, but I quickly ran to the van and hid in the van for a bit until they went. And the pier issued a statement saying that I didn't have permission or any. I hadn't been told that, but I didn't step foot on the pier, so I don't think anyone can do anything.
Yeah.
I think people aren't too bothered anyway.
Yeah.
I think deep down most people think that it's cool to push yourself in some form or other, as long as you don't put other people in danger. Then
yeah. Well, I think there's people in every sport that do ridiculous things, like you got Robbie Madison in motocross, but that doesn't mean your Saturday motocross rider's going to go and try and jump 250 feet through the air.
Or the guy, Philippe Petit, I think his name was, the guy who did the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
With his tightrope walking, he could have fallen off there and wiped out loads of people down the bottom, but it was special, and that's crazy. They're like big inspirations, them sort of people. They just go and do it. Why can't everyone else sometimes?
Yeah. No, I think it's cool. I think there will be safety police that go, it's dangerous, but as long as people recognise that you're a talented sportsman that's been doing the sport for a very long time, and you're at the top level. I wouldn't ever try that if I wasn't 100% of my abilities that I could jump. I can jump 3 times the height of that on a good day if it's right. So there is a lot of room to spare. I think some people think you're just going at it like a nutter just to get the coverage. I wouldn't care less if there's no cameras down here. That would still eat away at me for years and years and years until I got it and done it. So it's not what it's about. And one of the things that sort of come off the back of it, I suppose, and something that we've talked about a little bit today, has been sort of a resurgence in people being interested in doing big jumps.
Yeah.
And that's, obviously a good thing that you're kind of pioneering. Has that always been something that you've wanted to push?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of the event formats now, where they very specifically switch natural tricks and the wake stuff, you have loads of categories within kite surfing. I think this one got forgotten about for a bit. Like jumping high is something that everyone can do. Everyone does do it every time they go out and kite. I think it's the real basis of our sport, which comes to getting. That's what makes kite surfing, is you can get air and flat water and things like that. So hopefully it will get big and we'll start seeing some hang time competitions and things like that again. It'll be good fun, if anything.
Yeah, make a difference. Are you going to go back to start doing board offs?
I've still got a few to learn. I think Lance could help me out with a few of them. Lance with his dead man board offs. I was alright at board offs. I could never reach the toe side edge, so I weren't flexible enough. Like Aaron with his big long arms. I can't do any of them. I can only take it off from the tail.
Get yourself a big handle. Yeah. That sits up in between your legs.
I'll be gay then. Yeah. I'll call me gay then. Neil won't speak to me again.
What's the plan? I mean, I've seen on some of the interviews that you've mentioned jumping over London Bridge and all sorts of things. Is there a plan for this?
There's a lot more speculation into that than what I've actually said. But it's quite nice, is that as ridiculous as it is, they're starting to imagine, the press is starting to imagine these things all being possible. you know, I'm not stupid. That's probably an impossible thing to do. I said, one day someone will possibly do that. That's all I said to them, and then the next minute they go run it. Even if it's not within kite, it might be another sport. Someone goes and does something. You know, humans are humans. They're programmed to keep learning and keep doing new things. That's all they're doing. So maybe, but I think it's interesting for them. I thought about putting out there that I'd do the Eiffel Tower to see if they'd buy it. I think people would buy it. I know a few companies which would buy it. There's not even water there. It's funny. I think it's all helped things actually that went about.
Yeah.
Because Billy Joe Public doesn't get it. He's now thinking it's possible to do it and may show interest in kiting where he might not have done.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, you know, I think between the two videos, it's probably getting on for 500,000 views over the whole of YouTube and everything. There's certainly a lot. And that's, you know, a lot of people that aren't interested in kiting have been made aware of it and, you know, can see it as a sport that maybe they'd like to get into. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing. I can't see there being any issues with it. There'll be people out there that will say, oh, you know, that's all people want to do is go and jump over objects and stuff like that. But, you know, if they get good enough, why not?
Yeah, if they're thinking with that mindset, I like to think all those people say to me, oh, now my kid's going to want to do that. I think, well, they were going to do something like this anyway. They'd written their own destiny with that attitude that someone's done something, I want to copy it. They're going to do something like that anyway. And you look at how many people have tried this since last year, no one.
Yeah.
You know, I think people do respect that you're within your abilities to do it, and that's how it is.
And have you had, you know, many people come up to you in the street and shake your hand?
Did earlier actually. That was funny. Some beautiful hot girl and bride. Not really. Yeah, a few people have done actually. That's really nice. That's really cool. It's like the people are happy for you and it's okay. I haven't had anyone come up and punch me around the face, so I think that's a good thing.
And has it changed your life at all? Because obviously they're two sort of, you know, very groundbreaking stunts that you've pulled off. Has it made a difference in your sort of your kite surfing career and things, you think?
Yeah, a little bit. It's made, you know, it hasn't obviously just been like, yeah, everything's great forever now, but it's certainly put my name out there a bit more. It's put kiting out there. That's the worst thing that can happen is that more people aware of kiting, new sponsors might come into it, but things would be a bit better for me, I hope, for sure.
Cool.